Hey everyone, welcome to Smash Trivia. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia to follow everything happening with me. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. I'm so excited to get into this. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, in this series, I'm going to review everything Hulk. All the movies and TV shows, and maybe at some point I could get into comics, but that's a while off. Hope you enjoy Smash Trivia presents the Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening if they could please do something for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends, because I really want to get the Gamma Analysis to be big enough that by the time She-Hulk comes out, maybe I could be on press, and either get the first episode early, or be invited to premiere, or even just get one of the press goodie bags. For this episode, I'm going to review the Hulk 2003 again. This is what I reviewed in my first ever episode of the podcast, and I decided to do it again for a few reasons. One, from the day that this will release, it will have been exactly 6 months since I started my podcast. As two, I want to be able to actually have a conversation with people about the film, and not just be a 27-minute review of me reading from a script. And then three, I think this is a good way of showing how this podcast has evolved and gotten better over the last 6 months. Our two co-hosts today are Annabelle, aka Lady Gaga, and Matt, aka Cosmic Cretin. How are you two doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic, John. I am so excited to be here, even if it's with Matt.
I'm good. I'm doing good, John. Glad to be here as well.
Well, that's good. So, as I always have, I do have a trivia question for you guys. What was the name of the institute that Bruce Banner worked at in this movie?
Oh, if I knew we were being quizzed, I would have paid attention a little bit better.
Was it Berkeley?
Do you have any guesses, Matt?
No, I really don't.
Well, I will give the answer to that later in the episode. And as I always say on my podcast, I highly recommend watching the film before you listen to this podcast, because though I do try to mention every scene in the film, I don't always get everything, and also this is just a commentary on it, so it may not make a lot of sense if you haven't seen the film. So the podcast I want to shout out this week is the Superhero Speak podcast. They talk about everything geeky, even controversies. I'm shouting them out mainly as a thank you for them shouting me out on multiple of their recent episodes, so definitely check them out. Alright, let's get into this review. So, you guys can speak up whenever you have anything you want to say. Which are on a notepad, so I won't see it if you guys try to put your hands up. My first thing I wrote down was that the Hulk version of the classic Marvel intro is Hulk smashingly incredible. This being the intro, instead of a normal random Marvel comics flashing in a red tint, this intro had all Hulk comics and it was in a green tint. I really loved that, and since Marvel has been doing a lot of cool versions of their current intro for the Disney Plus shows, I really hope they do something really cool like what's in this film for She-Hulk when it comes out in August. It probably won't, but I can dream.
Yeah, I actually, I loved that too. I made a note of it, and how it, like, after it goes through the comics, it, like, does the bubble to like represent the science experiments, which I thought was really freaking cool.
Oh yeah, and that's what I was about to go into as well. It's like we see these mutating cells and they turn into the Hulk logo, which I think was really cool. And then and the actual film starts with arts where we see a lot of Bruce Banner's dad's insane scientific tests at the beginning, including trying to create immortality from starfish, monkeys, these lizards, etc. It makes me very mad that he killed monkeys for these tests. Fuck David Banner, as he's known in the comics, ex Brian Banner, not just for the killing monkeys, but also for a lot of things that he does later on in the film.
I actually said this a lot in my notes. Fuck David Banner, okay? Fuck him. What? Worst dad of, like, the century ever.
Definitely.
He was a pretty weird and bad guy. I don't like human, or not human, but I don't like animal testing.
Yeah, no. So the next thing I wrote down is that David was told, no human subjects, so he experiments on himself. And then we see David's wife Edith let him know that she's having a baby, and we see that they live at an army base in the desert, and we're getting this montage of Bruce growing up. We see David notices in the baby's crib that he's passed on the Hulk genes to his son. And also, like, this montage at first shows David being nice to his son, but then and pretty quickly starts experimenting on him, which is another one of the many reasons for fuck David. I like the visualization of Bruce's cells looking green and purple, which being the main colors that the Hulk is associated with. Bruce came in the house. Bruce came in the house one day. His mom, obviously worried, ran over to him. We find out someone threw something at him, and he didn't fight back, which showing us how quiet of a person that Bruce is. And then next we see the army catches on to David not following the orders of now human and him now do no human testing, and they take him off the project and destroy some of his equipment and in front of him, making him very angry. David, in his anger, turns on the gamma machine, causing the base to have to evacuate. Edith tries to bring Bruce to safety by putting him under a table. David comes home and immediately grabs Edith from under the table and takes her into the bedroom, slams the door shut, and we hear him beating her. It's really painful to hear. And again, another reason for fuck David.
Yeah, I had a huge problem with this. First of all, excuse me, sir, but you do not have to yank me out from under that table. All you had to do was nicely ask, hey, I need to talk to you in the other room. Why? Why the aggression? I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's mainly because he's already a very unstable person, and the army people angered him, so he's already angry about it. But yeah, he definitely should not have done that.
I'll be honest,
I am not getting hearing what Cosmic is saying right now.
Say what?
I'm not getting what you were saying there. It cut out. What? Can you repeat that?
I said I have two nitpicks on this first opening scene of the movie.
Okay. Do you want to say them?
First one was to go back to the part that you mentioned about his cells being green and purple. Mm-hmm. That's got to be like the world's best or greatest coincidence that Hulk is green and he wears purple shorts. Seems a little too convenient for me. And second off, the first 10 minutes of this movie is just a barrage of shitty transitions, and it was super fast-paced and super jarring.
I actually really liked it.
Yeah,
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I love the transitions in this film. I think they're
It
really
was
cool.
really cool. Yeah, like you don't see it normally. People don't really do that. But I will say it did make the beginning very choppy for me.
Yeah,
I was
can
very
see that.
confused in the beginning.
I can already tell you I'm going to be the bad guy on this podcast.
That's all right. I'm not. I would never force anyone to conform to my opinions on films.
I told him not to censor himself.
I tried to hold back a little bit, but I didn't fully hold back. So I do have some.
It's okay. So let's see. The next thing we have is, so we then see the montage jump to Bruce in his late teens with PTSD nightmares and going to college, and then we finally see a Bruce as an adult, and I love this shot of his eye turning green as he looks in the mirror. There, I thought that was pretty cool. And then and we see him going to work, and as he gets to work, we get cameos from both Lou Ferrigno, the original Hulk, and Stan Lee, both as security guards. And it's also kind of cool because Lou Ferrigno also played a security guard in the 2008 film.
I was just gonna say that because I watched them both, and yeah, I saw him in the 2008. I was like, hey, that's him.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to go back a little bit back to when he's packing up for college, and he's talking to his mom in quotations because I was very confused about that. But she says to him, "There's something inside you so special," and I'm wondering, was she referring to what his dad did to him, or just that he's a gifted kid?
I don't know. I would say probably more on the lines of just a gifted kid, because it kind of how it sounded like with the like when the military took his father away from him, and it didn't seem like they were put him into like some protective custody or something. They just put him in a normal adoption option situation. So the people would not have known any of what happened before that. At least that's how I took it. I may be wrong, but because they never confirmed anything.
I would say definitely she thinks he's gifted, and it's just some coincidental foreshadowing on top of that. Also, I completely missed the Stanley and Lou Ferrigno cameo during my first watch. I don't know how, but it wasn't until the second one I was like, oh, there they are. I completely forgot that
you weren't even watching the movie, Matt.
No, yes, I was.
No, you
They
weren't.
were on screen for a good bit of time. It's kind of hard to miss them.
He even talks to Bruce.
I was like, there's no way I did.
Oh man. So next week thing I wrote down was that is because of the because he had Lou Ferrigno has now played a security guard twice in Hulk films. I really want to see him and continue that streak by being a security guard in She-Hulk.
That would be pretty
cool. At the firm that she works at. That would be funny.
I think that would be great. Only reason it may not happen is because Lou Ferrigno has been very critical of Marvel in recent years because he doesn't like that they use CGI for the Hulk.
Oh, come on.
What does he expect them to do?
Well, he in the 70s when he played the Hulk, he was just painted green.
Oh my god.
Dude is also massive. You can't expect everybody to be as massive as you are and painted green.
Definitely I actually have some stats from the animators of Hulk for this movie of like his size and everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have. I actually also have that because I always go when I review things. I always go to the trivia section on IMDb to find bits of information about the film. But I'll let you talk about those if you'd like. So the next thing we have that happens is I next thing I wrote down was that I love this the little banter when he gets inside in between Bruce and Harper about Bruce's helmet. I thought that was pretty funny. And then
I know. I wish there was more Harper in this movie.
yeah,
We barely got him.
liked Harper, but like after the initial gamma accident, he doesn't come back.
Is he?
I know.
Is he exclusive to this movie, or is he like a?
I don't think he's in any of the comics, and I've never seen him in any other Hulk adaptation. So I think he is just exclusive to this movie. And then here after that banter between Bruce and Harper, we finally see Betty for the first time, and they have a conversation about how the review board wants to see what they've been up to, and Betty wants him to be the one to talk to them because she thinks he's good at that for some reason. And then the scene transitions to the eye of a frog, and it zooms out, and we find out that they're doing tests on frogs where they hit him with gamma radiation, and we find out that the frog's name is Freddy. So they ended up exploding the a frog, and they actually showed it, which was really, really disgusting.
Yep, could have gone without microwaving a frog in this movie, but
Yeah. And why are you gonna name him? Why are you gonna name the frog when you know it could possibly die?
I don't know. It was.
It upset me. I was upset.
Yeah. We meet Glenn Talbot, and he is an asshole, which is kind of expected from this character. Interestingly, this time of watching it, something I noticed, his voice, at least to me, he sounds a lot like Chris Evans. Did either of you notice that?
I did not get that.
Yeah, at least to me, it sounded a lot like Chris Evans, particularly when he was talking to Betty in the elevator.
I didn't get that, but I did write down I'm getting mad bad guy vibes from Talbot, but he's hot. The hot ones always seem to be bad.
I mean, to be fair, just looking at him, he looks like the typical early 2000s villain.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
They should have just given him frosted tips and you would have known right away.
Oh, but yeah, that would have been hilarious if they did that. So, Talbot ends up having someone go directly to General Ross after Betty turned down his offer to come work with him, which that then introduces us to Sam Elliott as General Ross, which is casting that I for one really like.
I did too. I thought he was better than the Incredible Hulk Ross.
Whoa, I wouldn't take it that far.
Okay, hold on. Hot take. I like this movie way better than I like the Incredible Hulk.
Ooh, also wouldn't say that either.
I honestly probably would say that.
Oh God.
It is better. It is better, okay?
I like
Eric
the
Bana,
Incredible Hulk, but I think this one's better for multiple reasons.
Yeah, Eric Bana is a better Bruce Banner than Edward Norton. And Jennifer Connelly is 20,000 times better Betty Ross than fucking Liv Tyler. She needs to never act again because Liv Tyler was fucking terrible. Oh my god, she ruined the movie for me. Ruined it. I hated it.
I'm pretty sure that that is exactly the same reason that Emmy hated the Incredible Hulk movie. Emmy from the Avengers podcast. Yep.
I did channel my inner Emmy for this.
My main reasons for liking this film better are one, I think it's a more fun film versus the Incredible Hulk is just way too serious as of a Hulk film, and then you also like I love that this film actually uses the fact that his father was an abusive father, which is a big part of his character in the comics, but Onyx versus the Incredible Hulk film did not go into that at all. And also, I because I love the style of having comic booky transitions between scenes, which is something you don't see very often in films.
Alright, I'm gonna say it. I absolutely hated the comic booky transitions throughout the entire movie.
What?
I didn't
Why?
think there was anything to it, and I don't know, sometimes it was hard to follow.
I really liked it. Oh my god. And I thought this was a better story than the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
There's two of those transitions specifically that I hated, but also I'm gonna be the
Say it, Matt. Say it.
You can say it.
I
Say it.
did not find this movie to be fun at all.
What?
I didn't think it was fun at all. I don't think the MCU Incredible Hulk movie is fun either, but I didn't think this one was fun.
Why?
We're again having technical difficulties as we can't hear Matt for some reason.
Annabelle, can you hear me good?
I can hear you okay. Sometimes you kind of cut out, so maybe get closer to your mic.
Well, yeah, it seems to be freezing on my end for some reason every once in a while.
I think Hulk is too destructive of a character in like a not so fun kind of way, where it's just like all I can think about is like everything that he's doing wrong and not so much about what he's doing right.
I love him being destructive.
Huh?
I love him being destructive.
I mean, I get that that's like his thing. I don't know. That doesn't scream superhero to me.
Well, he didn't start out as a superhero.
Yeah.
He was a villain, really, because he's destructive.
Mm-hmm. And people had to realize that he was a hero by him saving people.
That's not how they played it in this movie.
Kinda is,
what do you
but
mean?
Okay.
What?
I didn't get that.
Explain yourself.
He saved people in this film.
I mean, I get that, and I get that people didn't like him because he was so destructive, but I wouldn't have necessarily said he was a villain in this movie.
Well,
I think they just had the wrong idea.
Villain in the film, but he definitely he did destroy himself, but he also saved people as well.
When?
He saved one of the jets that was going to fly into the San Francisco Bridge.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that one. That was like one of the times that he actually saved somebody.
And like some of the military, he chose not to smash, so...
And he also saved Betty many times.
I don't think Betty should count as somebody being saved.
Betty shouldn't count as a person.
Betty's not a person.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Betty is like only ever being saved.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that. She was kind of a damsel in this movie, but at least she wasn't a fucking idiot like Liv Tyler was in fucking Incredible Hulk, man. Damn.
Yeah. So, let's get it on with this review. So the next one we see is I liked how we're introduced to his father in present day by seeing him infiltrate Bruce's lab as a janitor. And
I refer to him as weird ass new janitor throughout this entire movie because he's just so fucking weird. Cut your hair.
He really is weird.
Take a shower.
God. Yeah. And he mentions to Betty that Benny, the old janitor, is dead. Do we think he killed the old janitor?
They never did answer that, did they?
No,
They
they
didn't.
didn't. Do not answer it just so people would theorize about it.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think he did. And did you know that Benny in the comics, I believe, is a person that creates the mutant dogs that Bruce's dad uses in this film?
Oh, nice. That's
Fun
really
fact.
Cool. Nice. So then then the next thing we see is Bruce looking at a photo that him and Betty took at a cabin, of which we will see again later in the film. And
I got lots of notes for that scene, man.
Oh yeah, I don't think I had as many, but so we go into the photo and we're shown them at the cabin, and Betty starts telling Bruce about a nightmare that she's been having, which is showing young Betty seeing the gamma bomb go off at an ice cream parlor alone, and then young Betty is picked up by an adult Bruce who chokes her, which is a really weird scene. So, and then in reality, Bruce comforts Betty, saying, "You know, I'd never hurt you." So what all notes do you have for that?
Is Betty psychic? Because that's what made me think of it. Like, is she psychic? Because why would she have that dream about Bruce?
It's weird. It really is weird. But yeah, one thing I do really like is how they connected the two of them by having them both be children who lived at this same military base. I think that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool, yeah.
I do have a quick little gripe on this scene.
Of course you do.
Yep, told you I'm gonna be the bad guy. But this is the military in me. When the people in the Jeep pull up and they salute Betty's dad and he salutes back, he wasn't wearing a cover, like a hat on his head, so he wouldn't have actually saluted back in real life, but he did in the movie, and I caught that and I was like, nope, that's wrong.
I feel like that's not that big of a deal though, because
it
wasn't
not that big of a deal.
It's not so I focused on it in the film, and also most people aren't in the military, so they wouldn't have caught that.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that.
Personal gripe. I didn't figure it's definitely not that big of a deal. Just something that bothered me a little bit.
And I know that is like a dream, but did Betty's dad just leave her there with the employee?
I guess they on this military base, like, everyone trusts each other enough with their children, I guess, but that's just still kind of a weird thing to do.
Yeah, she's 2. That's wild. No, I would not let a teenager watch over my 2-year-old. No.
Do you think everything up until the point where Bruce chokes her, do you think everything else is real in that dream?
I don't know.
I
was having a hard time. What did you say, Matt?
I would say yes.
I think I think definitely most of it. I don't know if it's all real. I would not be surprised if, like, in actuality, like, her dad didn't just leave. Like, he maybe set something up with the owner of the shop to offer protect her side, but Betty just remembers it as him abandoning her. Or I would not be surprised if that's like what the reality is.
Yeah, that's a good take on that.
Yeah.
Betty always been mad at her father, but it really did kind of seem like her father, even though he wasn't a great guy, like he did very much care about her, even though she didn't think so for a while.
Yeah, he cared for her, and like his number one priority was like her safety, but like that's like the military in him, and that rubbed me the wrong way. Like there are certain parts in this that rubbed me the wrong way with him.
The way he goes about showing his care for her is not how it should be.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
The next thing we see is now back to Bruce's work, not in a flashback within a flashback act. And Bruce sees is one of the dogs that David would turn into the demon dogs. Then after Bruce leaves, David breaks into Bruce and Betty's office and takes one of Bruce's hairs. And we see Bruce heading home, and where he does some more late night work on his computer, and then Bruce has some more PTSD memories, which he doesn't believe is real yet. Bruce looks out his window to find his father, and the three dogs are all staring at him, which was really creepy. So then, he closes his and opens the blinds again, but they're gone. We then see David go to his house and starts doing experiments on Bruce's hair. We find out later it's to create the demon dogs. I'm not quite sure how deciphering the name Bruce helps you when it seems that you definitely already knew it was your son, since you specifically infiltrated the lab that your son works at and took his hair. I don't know what that deciphering the name Bruce thing was.
Yeah.
And he worked in the exact same field that his father did.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a little bit of a weird scene. In the morning, Bruce gets to the office and finds Betty and Talbot in the room. Talbot threatens Bruce with a hostile takeover, and Betty tells Bruce that she'll talk to her father about Talbot. Harper tells them that the circuit is fried. You need to come take a look. And so Bruce enters the room with the gamma machine, and a mistake causes the machine to turn on. Harper gets a mask on, but Bruce doesn't have one. They can't stop the gamma radiation as it explodes, and Bruce tries to shield Harper from the blast. And there we have it. This is the origin of the Hulk. So Bruce wakes up in the hospital. He's in great condition. He saved Harper's life. He believes the nanomeds they were working on worked, not realizing that it's actually because of his youth and what his father did to him. But he, being very happy, makes Betty not, because the experience was very traumatic for Betty, as she thought that she was gonna watch Bruce die. We then see some more Bruce having PTSD nightmares. This time ending with our very first shot of the Hulk in the shadows. And then, David sneaks into the hospital to see Bruce. And, like, at this point, I wrote, like, how he is such a perfect, insane, creepy villain here. David tells him that he's is Bruce's father and that everything came from him. He also tries telling Bruce that there's something about Betty. And Bruce refuses to believe any of it and yells, "Get out!" Sure what he meant exactly by "there's something about Betty." Hey, do either of you know what he was trying to get at with if there's something weird about Betty?
I think that her dad was the one that put him away a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he was referring to Ross,
Okay.
and that she's probably might be in cahoots with Ross, but he doesn't know that relationship.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so maybe he was thinking like Betty was working with her dad and they knew who Bruce was to like keep an eye on him, maybe.
That makes sense. So we then see David back at his house start creating his demon animals. Well, actually not at his house. I think he's in Bruce's lab actually. Where he starts creating his demon animals. First doing it on a rat before he does it on his dogs. Betty then meets with her father. And he tells her that there's some stuff that she doesn't know about Bruce. And he pretty quickly leaves, saying, "I thought this for once would be that you actually wanted to see me," which sadly it was not. We see
that scene was it kind of okay. That scene made me a little bit emotional, and I also had some problems with it. It made me emotional because I have almost that exact relationship with my own father. We do not speak to each other whatsoever. I do not want to hear from him ever again. I don't want him in my life whatsoever. So, but I've always wanted just to him to want to see me, but he never does. Mm-hmm. So that kind of hit me. But for her to go to her dad because she needs something really irritated me, because if you really have a problem with your father, you're not going to do anything. Oh, yeah. You're not going to get any help from him. You will do it yourself.
Yeah. That definitely not. So the next thing we see let's see here, where is it? We see you see Bruce looking into his cells after what David had told him, and then we see him having some more PTSD, and over a message, Betty tells him that Allison about how Ross and Talbot are planning something with the lab, and it's all too much for him to take. He looks around the office for his father. Stumbling around, he finally turns into the Hulk for the first time. And I love this first transformation into the Hulk for the film. I thought this was looked pretty cool, and I love the look of the Hulk in this film as he has a great green color in this film. What did you think of it?
It didn't look as bad as I was expecting it to. I actually thought it looked good.
Yeah.
For the time that this movie came out.
Yeah, definitely. For the time, it's not as good, nearly as good as Mark Ruffalo's Hulk looks, but you gotta remember that this is 2003. CGI was not nearly as good as it is today, and honestly, I think they did really pretty good actually with the CGI they had back then. Like, there are scenes in daylight with Hulk, and they don't look that fake.
They don't. The only thing is his head is funny to me. His face is weird.
Yeah, I can see that.
And imagine the face is probably one of the hardest things to replicate in CG.
Yeah, definitely, and that's like a part of the reason why a lot of people have a problem with how She-Hulk is going to look in the MCU, even though it's most likely a not finished looking with the footage that they put out, but it's a concept called uncanny valley, which basically is that it is hard to CGI sign that's supposed to look human, because if you make sign look too human, it ends up looking creepy to most people. And the reason why Hulk and Thanos they look so much better is because those are not just a human head of how a human head is supposed to look. Also, they've had years to perfect those CGIs versus She-Hulk. They've only been working on for like a year now. I think that's a big part of it, and also they also most likely by the time the show actually comes out, it's gonna look a lot better than it does now. Which I actually don't even mind how it looks now. I think it looks fine to me.
I do have my complaint with it. I'm not going to get super deep into it since we're not really talking She-Hulk, but I do hope they fix it by the time the show comes out. And I get what you're saying. Like, Thanos and Hulk are, like, not the same as She-Hulk, like, in terms of how they look in the face. Thanos is, like, his own thing, and then Hulk is, like, a mix between Bruce and Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And then She-Hulk is literally just pretty much Jennifer's face.
Yeah.
But green.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could definitely see where it'd be a little bit hard to do her.
Yeah, it's definitely like... I remember someone put out I'd be like, how did Marvel get from Thanos to this? Of like, did you want She-Hulk to have balls for a chin? I don't think anybody wanted that.
I think they're talking in terms of, like, you can see Thanos' pores and, like, the individual hairs.
I know. I was just, that's a joke that I wrote on that post because I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I did see that, though.
Yeah. I don't think it's easy to compare her with Thanos at all because they're very different looks, and I saw some people be like, Ghost Rider and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. looks better. Like, okay, but it's a lot easier to create flames and a skull digitally than a human face.
Yeah,
it's a lot easier.
That's not a fair comparison.
Yeah. So, we can get all of this review and stop getting into drama about She-Hulk, but so
that's coming another day.
So Hulk smashes up the entire lab, which I for one think is really fun to see. I know Matt at being the villain he is doesn't like that.
You know what? One thing that this movie did that I actually liked was that they did a lot of the destruction scenes practically.
Oh yeah.
So like they actually did like throw the couch through the window in the house, and they actually did destroy the walls in the lab. It wasn't CG.
There was a lot of actually practical stuff, really cool practical stuff they did with this film. Like I as well, like later in the film we have this underground military base installation thing which like today they would have done all of that in CGI, but when this film came out, they actually created that all of those crazy looking rooms that are in there, which is really cool to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely appreciated that in this movie. The practical uses that they had.
Yeah, and there's
Did y'all notice that every single time he turns into the Hulk, no matter what he's wearing, okay, all of his clothes rip off, right? Except for his pants, obviously. But every time he's the Hulk, he's in purple shorts. You weren't wearing purple pants before you were the Hulk, so why are you in purple shorts?
I only noticed him start having the purple shorts when or it's after he came out of the water chamber in the military base. I never noticed it before then in the film.
I
It was like every time.
The first Hulk out when he turns the Hulk and he's got the purple pants. He even has like a little pocket on his pants.
Yeah.
I don't think the hospital that you're in would have given you purple pants with like a little pocket, but whatever.
Honestly, the purple pants are something that I really want to see in the MCU because he's never worn the purple pants in the MCU, which I think is really a fun thing on part of the Hulk having him just wear purple pants.
Yeah,
maybe we'll see him in She-Hulk.
I could honestly see it happen in She-Hulk because of the fact that the She-Hulk has a more fun tone to it versus is how most of the rest of when he's in the MCU are more serious as. So yeah, I could actually I could easily see that. And I imagine Mark Ruffalo does not have nearly as much of a problem of wearing purple pants as Edward Norton did in the Incredible Hulk.
No, I don't think anybody has as many problems as Edward Norton does.
Yeah.
Did y'all know that they originally approached him to be the Hulk for this movie, but he turned it down because he didn't like the script?
Yep.
I hadn't not heard that. I did know that for the 2008 film, they were going to try and get Mark Ruffalo for it, but they got Edward Norton instead. Actually, because Lou Ferrigno suggested it to them, and because as he said that apparently he thinks that Edward Norton's role in Fight Club feels like Bruce Banner, which I've never seen Fight Club, so I don't know, but I can't imagine it would feel like Bruce Banner.
See it at all.
Yeah.
Edward Norton, no. Mark Ruffalo would have been way better.
Oh yeah.
I think they also considered Johnny Depp for Hulk.
They did.
Yeah,
yes, that was their first thought, was Johnny Depp, which I don't hate. I don't hate it.
Interesting. I know he did end up getting cast, and he wasn't, and I don't think the studio even wanted him at all. But I know, Matthew McConaughey really wanted to play the Hulk in the 2008 film.
No,
which was just so hilarious to me that he wanted to do that. And I know when I had the Avengers on for the Incredible Hulk episode, I particularly mentioned that in the trivia section because I knew that it would get Brandon to do a Matthew McConaughey impression, which was hilarious.
I love his impressions.
All right.
Oh yeah.
I'm a smash.
Which I then brought that back as one of the characters in my my Gamma Games episode of the podcast, as I it makes no sense whatsoever since Brandon didn't come back to voice him in it, but I just put in there Brandon as Matthew McConaughey Hulk.
Oh no!
I listened to that. It was hilarious. Oh my gosh!
You. Deep cut.
I loved it.
The next thing that we see is I loved Hulk throwing the giant gamma equipment and breaking through a window and then crushing a cop car. I thought that was pretty funny.
It was, yeah. It was kind of campy a little bit.
Oh yeah.
It looked to me like something you would see in like a Universal ride.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Oh man, yeah. I definitely could see it as being very campy, but I enjoy campy.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
So, then we see Hawk and his father actually meet for the first time, and Hawk starts having flashbacks of the acts of the day that his father took his mom into that room to beat her, which this makes Hawk roof and then runs away. Kind of wish he had just killed old David there, but
I would say in that scene, I did like how Hulk like tried to jump through the roof and didn't quite make it, so he fell back down, and then he did it again, and then he made it through the roof.
yeah, I mean it makes sense. He's a baby in this scene, so he doesn't know how much momentum he needs. So yeah, I really like that too. Oh, and at this point, and as you mentioned, we get at our first Hawk jumps of the film, if you know my podcast, you should, as you know, I absolutely love Hawk jumps. There's just something so fun to me about seeing Hawk jump places.
That's one of the notes I have down. Is I actually liked seeing Hulk running around and jumping, trying to get to where he's trying to go, because that's something the MCU doesn't really do that much.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah. And did y'all know that Hulk's single jump, just one jump, he can cross 3 to 4 miles?
I did not.
Nice. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Fun fact.
Either. Yeah, that is really nice. Fun fact. David it starts crying after Hawk jumped away, and I just wrote, but no one cares because fuck him. Next morning, Betty comes to Bruce's house and finds him face planted in the bed with only torn pants on, and we then see him eating like an animal and her asking about last night. Bruce thinks that last night was just a dream, but then and Ross arrives to take him. Ross says that Bruce left his ID in the lab, and then tells someone to take Betty outside. And she first refuses to, but eventually, after Bruce tells her to go, she lets them take her outside. And once outside, Ross tells Betty that she has to stay away the next few days for her own good. And so Betty goes and gives David a visit. She wants to know about what happened in last night. He won't give her a straight answer, just says a lot of weird stuff, and then starts getting really creepy, walking towards her and sitting by her. It's like, what is going on here? Ugh.
Yeah, he was gross. And he takes her scarf. And she notices that he takes her scarf, but she doesn't say a fucking word about it.
Yeah, that's
Why?
weird. Yeah, why would you not say so?
This scene also had one of those examples of like terrible transitions whenever she's in the car and it like the background is like in a different dimension than she is, and it just looks really weird, and then it kind of fades across to like a new background. I was like, oh, that was awful.
Yeah, it's very clear that it's a green screen.
Yeah, that was probably the worst transition in the film.
I guarantee you I can find a worse one. just
Of
wait
course
till
you
we get to
can.
this scene that I'm thinking of, and I will let you know.
I think I know the scene you're thinking of.
I bet you probably do.
The only other one there's only one other that I can think of, but I actually think it's kind of funny how because of how awful it is.
John, you're probably on track with me, but I'm gonna save it until we get to that part.
Let's see. We then see Ross question Bruce as he believes that Bruce is working with David, and Ross asks how he could have forgot what happened, and then he realizes it's a repressed memory. You think that at that moment he would be like, he would tell Bruce what happened, since Bruce is asking him, please tell me what happened. But he refuses to tell him for some reason.
He's such a dick. I think he doesn't tell him because he doesn't want to trigger something, but like you're also being very aggressive.
If he didn't,
so you're gonna trigger something no matter what.
If he didn't want to trigger sign, why would he bring Bruce? When he captures Bruce, bring him to his childhood home, literally the place that would have the most trauma for him, most chance of him hulking out, like that. Like, it's really insane to me. What Ross does here.
I'm telling y'all, there's not a whole lot of sense to be made in this movie.
There are only really a few things that are things like that in the film.
It's still a good movie, though.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not gonna shit on this movie too bad, but I don't know about that.
Say it, Matt. Come on, I want you to fight with me. Why aren't you fighting with me?
The dynamic between Bruce and his dad didn't make much sense at all.
Well, what about it didn't make sense to you?
Like all the things y'all are saying, like why is he telling him this? Why is he telling him that? Why, what's he trying to do? And it seems like all
That's not Bruce and his dad. That's Bruce and Ross.
I'm saying like Bruce and his dad. Like, why is his dad telling like, oh, you are my son? Like, what is the point of all this and saying all these things? What is he trying to get at? Does he want Bruce to become like Hulk and destroy shit?
I think he does.
Yeah.
Why?
He's insane.
Because it's his work. He wants to see his work in full action.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to see what he created.
And like he also mentions to Betty, like how he says like the world will never accept the Hulk, and I think he doesn't care that the world won't accept him. He wants the world to fear the Hulk and fear him once he's able to take the abilities of the Hulk.
But Bruce and his dad don't have the same mindset on this topic at all.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't really make sense why he would be getting Bruce to do essentially his dirty work when they don't think the same way. It would make more sense for his dad to do it himself, but since he can't, I don't understand why he goes to Bruce to do it.
He's trying to trick Bruce into doing it.
Bruce is a smart guy, though.
Yeah, but his dad doesn't really know that because he hasn't seen him in 40 years. Or
he does know that
he's or however many years it is.
He does know that he's a scientist, and you got to be some level of smart to be a scientist.
I mean, yeah, but also you're kind of dumb if you put yourself in the line of fire to fire in a gamma machine.
I don't know. His dad tested on himself, so it does. I wouldn't put it behind him to do that.
I think he's doing it because he wants Bruce's power. Mm-hmm. He wants it.
Yeah. And there's also, as well, a bit of an arrogance factor with Bruce that makes it so he's a bit more easily tricked by things.
Yeah.
All right, those last 2 points are fair enough.
The next thing we have here is that Ed that Ross threatens Bruce about getting near Betty, and then the scene transitions to David sending his demon dogs after Betty. And then we see a Betty heading to the cabin from earlier, and Bruce's house. And right as Talbot is showing up, a phone rings, and Bruce finds that apparently David hid a phone in his house to reach him by, which you'd think Bruce would be a little bit more alarmed by the fact that his father somehow broke into his house.
I was about to say, when was he in his house?
I didn't pick up on that at all. I did not
thought
pick
maybe
up on the
he
fact
just
that
dropped his cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But so and David tells Bruce how Hulk came to be a part of him, and that he sent the demon dogs after Betty. Which I'm not quite sure why he told Bruce that he particularly wanted the demon dogs to go after Betty so that Betty would be out of the picture. Why did he tell Bruce that it was about them? I don't. That's a little weird.
See what I'm saying? I think Bruce's dad is just a fucking idiot. It's simple.
I think he wanted to trigger the Hulk again.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's a scientist. He wants to see what he created. He wants to see the full amount of power. So he sent an equivalent amount of power to a woman that Bruce cares about to kill her. So he wants to see how strong Bruce is so that he can take that power for himself.
He's just fine letting his Hulk dogs get killed by Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't care about those dogs at all.
Why, though? Why not use the dogs to do what you're trying to do with Hulk instead?
I mean, it's very clear that he does not care about animals.
Power as the Hulk does.
Yeah, but he's got 3 of them. You could do more. I feel like I don't know.
Well, that is one hair from Bruce power between 3 dogs versus the power of all of Bruce. There's a big difference in bouts of power there.
Okay, so John, you think that the Hulk dogs, all 3 of them combined, are not as strong as Hulk, but Annabelle, you think the Hulk dogs are?
I don't think they're as strong as Hulk because clearly Hulk kills them, but Hulk does struggle with them. So I think it's like a tad bit off.
Yeah,
like it's almost there.
Sense.
So why didn't he just keep experimenting with other animals until he got... Like, why not use it on a freaking gorilla?
Do you know how to get a gorilla, Matt?
I wouldn't put it aside from freaking his dad to go steal a gorilla. He's snuck into the lab. He killed the old janitor. He does animal testing. He's a real weird guy. I wouldn't put
Hold on. How would he get a gorilla? A gorilla is like 2 times the size of a human being.
Hey, how did he control the Hulk dogs? If he can control the Hulk dogs, I'm sure he can control a gorilla.
Because they were his dogs before they were mutants, so they already listened to him.
Yeah, he made them. He made it so that they already were loyal to him before he made them rabid.
All right.
You're wrong,
Matt.
Matt.
Just get bigger dogs. He used a poodle, a freaking pit bull, and I forget what the other one was. Why not get like some good Rottweilers and Great Danes and stuff like that, and get more?
I don't know. Oh, it's probably because they thought the filmmakers thought it would be funny to have a poodle be one of them. Their main reason. I don't think there's much reasoning for that.
That's probably.
All right, Matt. Whatever you say, buddy. Whatever you say, Maddie.
I'm sticking with it. Guy's an idiot.
So as Bruce is trying to get out to go, save Betty, Talbot it comes in attacking Bruce, but since Bruce is already getting angry, he tells Talbot, "You're making me angry," and we see him and he starts hulking out, and even before he's fully hulked out, he already is able to throw Talbot across the room. And we finally see a Hulk fully in the light, and he looks fantastic. Hulk breaks out of the house, crushing Talbot into the ground, knocking him out while doing so. Ross's men rain bullets on him, but they only cause him to get angrier and bigger. And I loved how he kicked the red couch that so he had already kicked it out of the house. He kicked it again into some random person's house for no apparent reason. I thought that was pretty funny.
It was funny.
I will say during the scene, I did like how he got bigger when he got angrier.
Oh yeah, I love that idea. I wish they would do that in the MCU, that the more angrier he got, he would get bigger. But they did not decide to put that in their version of it. Also,
I'm just going to throw this out there. Glenn would have absolutely been dead in this scene right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Definitely. And the when Ross's men are shooting the guns, that is the worst gunshot noise I've ever heard in my entire life. It was so terrible.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember much of it either. I don't think the scene stood out to me much in it. But we also then see right before Hulk leaves, he throws Talbot again just for good measure. Crushing Talbot even more into the ground. And here we get a great Hulk kicked moment, which basically is just as a joke that I have in my podcast for whenever there's a clear shot of Hulk's ass. That's the scene.
Nothing better than some Hulk ass.
Love it.
Yep.
Cake.
Which Hulk ass is better though? 2003 or Ragnarok?
Ragnarok.
I mean, yeah, Ragnarok is pretty epic looking.
Because it's Mark Ruffalo, and Mark Ruffalo is so fine.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know about that, but sure.
You gotta agree with me. Mark Ruffalo is a hottie.
Sure. We'll go with that.
Oh man. And also, it's also one of Ragnarok's better because is in the light. The light is it's shining.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot. Back at the cabin, Betty hears a noise outside, and she goes out to check, and she finds that Hulk is out there hiding behind what looks to be a.
Oh, he's cutting out.
John, we're
We're losing you, buddy.
Oh no, that's a. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the he's out hiding behind what looks like a giant dead tree, which at least to me it looked like it was like really convenient how how full this dead tree was of branches, so that that Hulk could actually hide behind it.
But is he really hiding behind it?
Not
though?
really.
I had a lot of issues with this scene. Like, you're in a cabin in the woods. You hear a noise outside. It's nighttime. Why are you going outside to check it? Have you not seen any scary movie ever fucking made?
And I get this is 2003, but you also grabbed the shittiest flashlight you could possibly find.
She probably only had one flashlight in there.
Well, you know what? If you're going to a cabin in the woods and you're staying overnight, you should know to bring a better flashlight.
I'm assuming that's where she lives. Like, that's her home. So,
Is
like,
that her house?
No.
I'm assuming because we don't see her in any other home
I was thinking
besides
like
the
that
cabin.
was like a safe house that she just knew of from her father.
I figured it was like a little family getaway house or something.
Maybe.
But I will say in this scene, whenever she does see Hulk, this was when I realized like I actually like the size of Hulk in comparison to the MCU's Hulk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
really
like
like how he's giant in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Hulk picks up Betty and sets her down on a car, and they stare at each other for a moment before hearing another noise. It's the demon dogs coming out of the forest.
So dumb. Such a dumb scene. First of all, how'd you know it was Bruce? Second of all, you're gonna let this ginormous green man pick you up? Why did you not run away screaming?
And then destroy your car in the process.
Yeah, and you're in the car. These dogs are attacking you. Why are you not running the fucking dogs over?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Betty. Come on, you're smarter than that.
So when Hulk places Betty in the car for safety and goes to fight the dogs, and like as you mentioned, Betty thinks about driving away but decides not to, which is just like really insane. I guess she just wanted to watch the fight for some reason, which why the hell would you want to watch Hulk fight dogs?
Not even just watch it, but just be sitting right in the middle of the fight. Yep. Not even out of the way, just right in the fucking middle.
Oh yeah. So the next thing I wrote down was oh god, that poor demon dog. Hulk punched it in the dick.
Okay, to be fair, that poodle grabbed his junk.
Yeah.
He definitely did.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
I had to rewind it.
Yeah. I think I'm cutting out again.
I still
I hear you fine.
Oh. Yeah, I cut out right as you said, and I had to rewind it. So.
Do I need to repeat myself?
I don't think so because it was you just say you rewinded it to see that that I'm guessing Hulk bit in the nuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
He got full-on grabbed in the junk.
Oh yeah.
By the poodle.
I didn't catch that.
So then after that we get a cool shot of Hulk on a giant tree branch, which that tree must be really strong to hold his weight. But then finally the tree does fall as Hulk falls from it when one of the dogs bites him. And then Hulk finally kills all of the demon dogs. And as they die, they disintegrate into a green dust. And so honestly, this was a scene where when I was a kid, I remember being terrified of this scene, watching Hulk fight these demon dogs. But now, I was an adult, I just feel bad for the dogs. They didn't ask to be experimented on and asked to have to fight the Hulk. And now they're dead now.
I don't remember this scene at all from when I watched it as a kid. I don't know.
I don't remember this movie at all from when I watched it as a kid.
That's a good point.
I didn't like how they like disintegrated into green dust when they
It
died,
was weird.
because like it's a living being, so there's going to be a body.
Also,
Yeah,
is
I think they mainly just did that because they didn't want it to be super bloody.
can we assume that Hulk does the same thing if he's killed?
Right?
I guess. Though I would think that if Hawk were killed, he would revert back to Banner, but I don't know.
Well, then the
Yeah.
dog should
I
have
don't
reverted
know.
back to normal dog.
I don't
Right?
know. Yeah, they should have. So the next thing we have is another other Hulk cake shot, but this time the cake is naked.
The best part of the whole movie. I loved it. Nice ass, Eric Bana. Nice ass.
He transforms back into Banner and nakedly stumbles over to the vehicle. And in his anger towards his father, Bruce starts accidentally choking Betty, and he stops upon realizing what he's doing, which is just
Didn't make any sense.
yeah, it was weird. And then Betty takes him inside and he tells her, "The Gamma unleashed me, it." And then in the morning, and we see Betty calls her father because she's scared. She makes Bruce some breakfast while she waits for Ross to arrive. She tells Bruce she thinks that the nanomeds are responding to his anger and his trauma. And he tells her about how Ross grilled him on something that happened when he was a child. And he says he's scared because when he loses control, he likes it. And then and at this moment, the Ross's men arrive and they sedate him, and they take him back to the same desert base where he was raised at. And it was a good idea to take this someone who's this dangerous to a place he has severe trauma at. Yeah, it's like these military people aren't very smart.
No, they should have put him somewhere very remote.
Well, this is remote, but it's still not the right place to put him. So they take him into a giant and underground area of the base, and it really is pretty damn impressive looking, the place they take him. And then we see Betty argues with her father because he's planning on keeping Bruce locked up for the rest of his natural life. Betty asks that her father let her help him, and she asks what David did to Bruce, which they don't reveal what he did later in the film. Which, like, for a second, I actually thought they might reveal it here, but they decided not to, which I think was actually probably smart that they decided not to reveal it yet.
Yeah.
So the scene transitions to Ross's men breaking into David's house, but he's not there. He's at the Gamma Lab, turning himself into a monster. And we see this giant drop of blood from coming out of David's head. And it's such awful CGI. It literally looks animated.
It's the worst CGI
Oh,
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It looks like jelly or something.
Like, there's also a scene in the 2008 Incredible Hulk film where there's a CGI blood splatter, but at least it looks a hell of a lot better when they use CGI blood in the 2008 film. Oh my god.
Yeah. I will say the CGI in the 2008 one is better than this film, but I still like this film better.
I think there is one scene where is better in this film versus a scene in the 2008 film, and that's where that is the scene where Hulk is in San Francisco in this film. In the daylight looks better than the scene where Hulk is in the daylight at Culver University in The Incredible Hulk 2008, I think. Because that scene looks a little bit weird in the 2008 film. At least
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I could see that.
I agree, yeah.
But then, we see David's hand turning into metal and going through the other metal, which that CGI actually looked pretty good in the scene. Definitely a lot better than the blood splatter.
It definitely was better than the blood, but I'm still iffy on it because it didn't really make much sense how, like, why would his hand go through it as opposed to just, like, becoming...
I don't know.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me, because he did the same thing. He tried to replicate what happened to Bruce, but it went wrong. Like, why is he turning into the things that he touches? That didn't make sense to me at all.
I don't
Yeah, I didn't gather much from that either.
I just guess like he accidentally set it up wrong because he didn't know exactly what Bruce did to it on the Gamma machine. He just did an approximation of what he thought it would have been.
You know what this did remind me of, though? John, I know you watched Ben 10. Annabelle, did you watch Ben 10?
No, I didn't, because I am not a geek.
I'm guessing you're talking about Kevin. Yeah.
Yep. Reminded me of Kevin's power.
Oh yeah. That definitely reminds me of Kevin's powers.
Yeah. Who's the geek now? Annabelle, you're in the minority here.
I mean, we still are the geeks.
We're still nerds, but...
All right.
If anything, she would be the only one who's not, because not watching it.
All right, but Ben 10 was good enough to where you are wrong if you did not watch
it. Screw you.
And that's all I have to say about that.
I mean, he is right, but...
Don't agree with him, John.
Yep, agree with him.
Is a fantastic
on my
cartoon.
side. Power Rangers is better.
Shut up. Literally shut up. Power Rangers is the worst thing I've ever seen. Like,
you shut your dirty mouth.
I hate Power Rangers.
What is wrong with you?
The hatred for Power Rangers for me started because my childhood bully liked Power Rangers. But then upon actually seeing Power Rangers, I was like, wow, this is just awful.
I'm starting to think, Matt, that you just have bad taste in, like,
film. That's fine, but I think that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was far superior to Power Rangers.
I will agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Power Rangers is still a good show, though.
I don't think that it is, but as long as we can all agree that Ninja Turtles are better, that's good enough for me.
I mean, it's pretty easy for them to be better. They had a much higher budget, both in the animation and in the live action versions.
Okay.
And they also did have to take scenes from a Japanese drama for when they did fight scenes because they didn't want to film the fight scenes themselves.
What?
Yeah, Power Rangers is all of their fight scenes and all of their any scenes when they're in the suits. It's not actually the American actors. They just have voiceovers of the American actors, and also with the mech battles, it's all scenes from another other show in Japan that they had just voiced over with the American actors.
Would you look at that? That sounds like the quality of a inferior show.
Actually, kind of an interesting concept that they did there, but
Definitely.
it's a weird one. So a guard comes in and wondering what's going on here, and David proceeds to use his new absorbing powers to kill the guard. And then we see a Bruce wakes up to Betty just being over him, staring down at him, and he asks, "Where am I?" And she says, "Home." I really wonder what went through Bruce's mind when she said that. I imagine it'd be like, "What? What do you mean home? This is not my home."
Never seen this room before in my life.
Betty then starts showing him around the base's ghost town, of which is where they grew up. Which I found a little weird because I'm surprised they allowed him to go outside and not just stay in containment.
Yep. And with Betty too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But soldiers do constantly follow them around as they're doing this, and just in case something bad does happen. Bruce finds his childhood home and walks through, but he wants to leave really quickly, which makes sense. And Betty wants him to try and remember what happened, which I don't understand why the fuck she would want him to do that with how dangerous he is. Like, that doesn't seem like it's a smart thing to do.
Well, I think her thought process here is the Hulk is triggered by his anger, which is triggered by the repressed trauma of what happened. So I'm thinking maybe if he overcomes that trauma and faces it, he can control the Hulk. But obviously that does not work out.
She's playing a real trial by fire game with that.
Yeah. Like, that would really scare me, trying to help him through that, but knowing how badly it could turn out if she does something wrong there. Bruce starts remembering and has a lot of anxiety and pain just looking to the door. And like, this is one of the scenes where I started getting emotional because like I could very much feel like his pain just watching, as like and knowing what happened to him. Like, it made me like remember some things that happened to me growing up. Which it's like some of those things I'll be mentioning later in the episode, but not a lot of them, because I don't want this episode to be fully about my trauma with my past. Yeah. So Betty asks what was in that room. She tries to go in, but and he tries stopping her, but he can't. But then when there's nothing in there, he just tells her it's nothing, even though he knows it's not. Sometime later, we see Betty try to get into Bruce's cell again, but is revoked access. His father, or her father, tells her that it's because testing has been taken over by Avion, and he can't stop it. And that he's pissed at Talbot for this. He tells Betty to go home, which they do take her home, and then we see Talbot come into Bruce's cell. And Talbot tells him that he needs him to turn into the Hulk so that he can profitize the Hulk's DNA. And to do so, he just starts zapping Bruce, and he tells him how he's enjoying this. Bruce says he won't let it happen. Talbot punches him out, saying, hey, maybe he can get Hulk out unconsciously. And so then Bruce is put into a water chamber, and Talbot has pumping stuff into him. Drives home where David happens to be waiting for her, and David asks that she talk to her. Betty tells him that her father can't do that, and David says he doesn't blame him, and Betty says he shouldn't, that he should blame himself. But David, for some dumbass reason, doesn't believe he's done anything bad to Bruce. And Betty tells him that all you've given him is fear of life. And he tells her that he lived once in love. And we get a flashback as he explains that he believes he conceived a monster with Edith, Bruce's mother, and he stopped being curious and started having what he believed to be compassion, but the military took his cure away. And it is at this moment that we finally see what happened that fateful day. He, after he came out of the room with Bruce's mother, he grabbed a knife to kill Bruce as a child. But his mom saved him by walking in front of the knife. I wrote here that there's some pain that he has that I can't fully imagine, which is seeing your father kill your mother in front of you while trying to kill you. But I have had times growing up where it did very much feel like my dad was trying to kill me, so I do understand a bit of where he's coming from, and that's a big part of why this film makes me very emotional while watching.
Yeah, of course. This scene with Bruce's mother was hard for me because her acting was not very good. Your husband is trying to kill your son, your only son, and you get stabbed in the chest. So your first immediate reaction is to just run out of the house. You're not going to grab your son, who he was initially trying to kill.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it was just poor acting for me. And then she does this terrible, fall and reaches towards the sky. And I'm like, oh, come on, girl. Come on.
Yeah, you can do better. I don't know what she was trying to get to by running out into the desert. Yeah.
This scene was very forgettable for me. Just because of, what Annabelle just said about that.
Yeah, I can understand that. Some of the times that I've had growing up, there was a time where my dad was chasing me, and it felt like he was if he caught me, he was definitely going to kill me. There has been times where he has literally thrown me across a room, and then afterwards, as I'm laying on the floor or crying, he started kicking me. And all these times, it definitely felt like he was going to kill me if nobody stopped him, and so a lot of stuff with this film really makes me remember stuff back to my childhood. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so sorry, John. That's terrible.
I know. I'm definitely not trying to put anything on you guys. I want to talk about it, and like and I don't want to keep any of that stuff blocked in. I like when I did this review for the first time. I'm back in November for when it was my first episode of the podcast. Partially back then, I didn't I was afraid to let out my full self on the podcast because it was my first episode, but also because that first episode, part of why I started the podcast is I was trying to distract myself because literally just like 3 days before I started the podcast was when my dad passed away. So I did not want to think about those things while I was doing the review before, but now once I've had some more time to process, though it still feels weird. It's sign that I want to talk about more, and I want to show people that they're not alone by talking about it publicly.
Yes, and that's really like one of the only ways to actually heal is to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. I was gonna say it's a good tactic to not keep that bottled up and to actually talk about it. And while I can't understand that situation itself, I can understand your relatability through this movie.
And I'm very thankful to you guys for being willing to come on, knowing that I'm going to be a little bit emotional on this episode.
No problem, John. Please talk about it. Please tell us everything you're feeling.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. The next thing we see is Bruce wakes up and starts freaking out in the water chamber. Talbot tries to have a machine drill into him for enzymes, but it can't break through as he's hulking out. And then finally, Hulk breaks out of the water chamber, and it's awesome. And
did anybody else get major X-Men Origins Wolverine vibes from that?
Yeah. I definitely got felt that a bit with the, since he was in a water chamber, and also like in X-Men Origins and Wolverine was in a water chamber as he was getting the adamantium put into him.
Yep, with drills, and he broke out too.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And
then like the scene before this with Talbot beating the shit out of Bruce, that pissed me off because, dude, he almost killed you as the Hulk. You wouldn't have been able to fucking walk, dude.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
And his reasoning behind that at all.
Yeah.
You better hope that punch that you throw knocks him out, because if it doesn't, you're probably gonna die this time.
Which he does.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily.
By himself, actually. He blew himself up.
Yup. Talbot has soldiers spray an expanding foam on Hulk, and then Talbot goes in himself to try and get a sample of him. But Hulk breaks free, and so Talbot tries shooting a bomb at him, but it bounces off into the wall behind Talbot, and he's caught in the explosion through freeze frame.
And then we get what I would consider one of the worst transitions in cinematic history.
I can understand where you're coming from, but I just found it hilarious.
It was so funny.
It was so bad. Why? First off, I hate freeze frames. Second off, why did they outline him in white? And third off, why did they make this a transition? It was just, oh god, it was awful.
I just liked how I liked it because I thought it was just so funny how stupid it was. Then Ross says to lock down the entire facility and evacuate. Soldiers shoot up Hulk, but it does nothing. Hulk smashes up the main area, and so I wrote, "Go, Hulk, smash everything!"
And he does.
Yes. Oh man, I love Hulk smashing stuff. So Ross lets him out so that they can fight him outside. I don't understand why Ross thought that's a good idea, but
Great strategy.
What did you say?
I said, "Yep, great strategy," sarcastically.
Yeah. So Hulk, once outside, runs really fast and starts Hulk jumping. And I love it. I've seen it so much. Hulk stops at his childhood home, and we get flashbacks of his father getting taken away. And then we see the military bombs his childhood home, which I can't imagine that was really smart of them. Much more angry. You see
Which it
that?
does.
Yeah.
I like this. I like this scene as a whole. Like I said earlier, I like seeing Hulk running around and jumping.
Oh yeah.
And the whole desert scene really did good with that. And then whenever the missile hits the house right in front of him, I was like, all right, that's, it's pretty cool. And the missile, like, it hits, and then it takes like a second before it blows up, and he realizes what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was done pretty good, actually.
Yeah. The missile did actually cut Hulk though, but it healed immediately.
Yep, which is different in the MCU too. Like Hulk is kind of impenetrable in the MCU. In this one, he is vulnerable, but he can heal.
Yeah, you really have to be able to have something that's very very strong to be able to penetrate the Hulk skin in the MCU.
Yep.
They then shoot a bunch more missiles, but Hulk jumps away as they explode. And Hulk lands in some sand dunes and starts sliding. And once he gets up, grenades have been thrown in front of him. And then Hulk sees 4 tanks bombing him. And so Hulk runs at the tanks as they shoot him, and he ends up throwing one of the tanks, which I really loved seeing. Hulk grabs the top of another tank and shakes the people out of it, which I thought was really funny.
It was hilarious. It was like shaking in a piggy bank.
Yeah. I thought of was as in movies when like you see like a bully a bully's holding some guy upside down and shaking money out of his pockets.
Yes,
it's people getting shaked out of a tank. I thought that was hilarious. Oh my god. So Hulk then uses that top both as a shield and a weapon to hit other tanks with. Hulk then goes to the last tank and bends its barrel to be pointed at the man inside, which I thought was really funny.
That was funny.
Oh man! So and Hulk jumps away, and Ross tells the president about Hulk and asks for everything the government has to be able to stop him. And I find it really funny that the government just calls him Angry Man. I thought that was really funny.
It's definitely, definitely right on brand.
Yeah, is that what the government would probably call a target like that in real life, Matt?
Probably. Yeah, I could see that.
So, let's see, the next essay is, so, the next thing we got, have in this, where we see a Hulk is just, like, jumping through different areas of the desert and other places. As like Matt, you've already mentioned, you really like seeing this. Like, I really like seeing this too. Like, I don't know what it is, but there's like, to me, there's like a certain serenity to just seeing Hulk jump through places. Like, cool to be seeing that. Hulk stops jumping to look at some nature, and he hears up above Ross's helicopters. They surround him, and one shoots him as he jumps on it, crashing it. And I wrote down, yes, Hulk throwing missiles. They start shooting missiles at Hulk as he runs around deflecting the missiles. It's a great scene. Hulk then grabs a live missile, chews the top off of it, and I love the early response from the helicopter pilot. The helicopter pilot just shouts, "Holy shit! He has my missile! He has my missile!" And Hulk then spits the top of the missile at him, exploding his helicopter. Hulk then jumps away again, and Hulk tries to hide in rock formations, but they destroy all the rock formations, and the helicopters leave, thinking that they destroyed him. But we then see him push rubble off of himself, and Ross hears over the radio, "Target not destroyed." Ross then says he's got it. It appears he's headed home. So Ross calls Betty to let her know that Hulk is headed to her and to stay at the base. And here I really love how they made sure that the CGI for Hulk, whenever he slams into the ground, it actually interacts with the physical ground around him. There's one point where he lands on a road, and I thought it was really cool how the wind from the impact of him slamming into the ground blew a piece of wood off of a nearby truck. Did either of you guys notice that?
I did not.
Yeah.
Didn't either.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that they made sure they interacted with the train around him. Yeah. Let's see. The next thing we have is that Hulk lands on the Golden Gate Bridge, and I noticed it being particularly foggy, even though it's been previously been sunny as we've been following Hulk. Which seemed a little bit weird to me as he got on the Golden Gate Bridge.
I would imagine that was probably to save money.
Yeah, I'm guessing because they didn't want to have to recreate the entire Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
Let's see. I love that even though these jets are now trying to attack Hulk, Hulk saw one of them was going to crash into the bridge, and he saved the guy from crashing, because that's what heroes do. The jet that Hulk saved takes him up into the atmosphere to see what will happen to him. And as he's doing this Hulk climbs up the jet and headbutts the glass. Hulk falls from the jet as he's losing consciousness, and Hulk dreams of Bruce shaving, but Hulk is in the mirror, and he breaks through, grabbing Bruce and shouting, "Puny human," which I love that scene a lot.
I loved it too. I loved hearing Hulk actually talk for once in this movie.
Since I don't think he talks at all in the rest of the film. It's really nice. And also, I just love the concept of Hulk and Bruce Banner facing each other in a scene. it's not something you see very often.
Yeah.
So the Hawk falls into the water, and Betty watches as they shoot bombs into the water. And Betty calls her father, telling him rage and makes him stronger. And Ross tells her, "You know that it's you." So then we see a groundbreaking in the streets. It causes is many crashes, and then finally a Hawk fully breaks through the ground. And he immediately slams his fist into the ground, knocking over many cars, which I really enjoyed him knocking over so many cars. And let's see Hawk stares at the helicopters as a fire hydrant is spraying water on him. And I wrote that I really wish the water, since it was spraying on him, just cleaned off the dirt, because I want a clean Hulk. And so and let's see, and then we see a Hulk realizes that Betty's in one of the helicopters, and Ross has every form of law enforcement he can get surround Hulk, and he lowers his helicopter down so that Betty can calm him. And Betty walks up, calming him, and I honestly kind of thought this was a really beautiful scene in Betty calming him down.
It really was. And then when he becomes Bruce again, and what is he's something is said. Oh, she was like, he said, "You found me."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Yeah, you weren't that hard to find." And he was like, "Yes, I was." I loved that because it's a callback to their conversation in the beginning of the movie of him being emotionally unavailable, and now he's being like owning the fact that he loves her and that she is the reason that he's okay.
Oh, I had not caught that callback. That's really nice. Yeah.
What I got from this was she said you're not that hard to find, and he says, "Yes, I am." I saw that as like, yeah, Hulk is easy to find because he's big and green and destroying everything, but Bruce as a person is a lot harder to, get to know because he's stuff like that.
Yes. Definitely.
Yes.
So then we see Ross grants David his wish to see his son for giving himself up, which I really wish that Ross didn't do that, because it doesn't seem like that's a very smart decision to make. Like, he could have easily just told him he's gonna do that and then just keep him locked up. Ugh.
Yeah, this is where the movie kind of went downhill for me.
Yeah, like, I think that this as well is another point where like the 2008 film definitely has a much better ending than this film has, as in a better final battle in it.
I think they're both bad. They both could have been better.
Maybe.
I agree with John, but I'll wait till you're done explaining the final battle scene before I say anything on it.
So Ross says that it is if he does anything but sit in that chair, I'll put enough electricity in him to disintegrate him. And so then and we see David and Bruce together. They talk about his mother. Bruce starts to cry because he doesn't know her name. And David walks over to him saying, "It's okay, you can cry." which I'm surprised he didn't tell Bruce actually her name here. I was really thinking he was going to tell him her name when he asked about it, but he didn't. But then as David is coming over and putting his hands on him, Bruce tells him to get away, saying that maybe once you were my father, but you aren't now, and you never will be. And I found that to be kind of beautiful, seeing Bruce be able to tell off his father, calling him out on his bullshit. And that's mainly because, like, that's something I never got to do with my dad before he passed, and it still sometimes pains me to this day that I never had the strength to tell him how I felt.
Yeah, I completely understand that. There's been many a times where I've wanted to tell my dad off, but I've been too scared to, because you fall under that, like, smoke screen, I guess, of it's your father, so you have to be nice to them, you have to respect them. But no, you don't, because if they're not giving you niceness and respect back, then you don't have to reciprocate it, even if they are your blood.
It's also that when my dad was alive, whenever I talked to him, like especially when he would try yelling at me, like, I would immediately just shrink into that scared little child, and I could not stop that from happening. So, I could never argue back at him when he would yell at me. So yeah. So it just, because of the fact that I could not do that before my dad died, I really like seeing Bruce be able to do that.
Yeah, that was nice.
That's kind of the thing with superhero movies, right? I don't know about y'all, but what always got me was how they were able to be somebody that I wished I could be, but was never able to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Matt. Oh my God, I agree with you on something for once.
Definitely, and I think that's a lot of why I relate so much to the Hulk. Is like, I wish I could be strong like he is, and and when I almost constantly feel like I'm not a strong person. Everybody tells me I am, but I can't believe them, because of how much I was pushed down as a kid of it being told that you're worthless by my dad. So I think that's a big part of why I gravitate so much to the Hulk. And also, it just is just really cool to me too that my favorite superhero also had an abusive father, like I had an abusive father. So we can get on with this review. So David tells him I didn't come to see you, I came to see my real son, the one inside of you. And he tells him how he wants to absorb Hulk to become more powerful himself. And I wrote that David has an insane villain monologue while trying to get Hulk to come out. And then he goes and chews on a cable with the electricity that's supposed to disintegrate him, but he just absorbs it. He turns into a giant electricity creature. Bruce hulks out, and they fight in the air, where we only see flashes in the clouds, which I thought was actually kind of cool, seeing the flashes of this in the clouds. But then they land and keep fighting, and David turns into a rock creature. Hulk tries choking him, but it's what David wants as he starts absorbing Hulk. So Hulk is able to get him off by throwing him into a rock. Hulk
Whoa,
grabs what?
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 He does what to Hulk? I'm sorry. That was on me. You can continue.
Matt, come on now.
We had to get at least one inappropriate joke in here. Getting Hulk off.
Hulk grabs the rock, throwing it into a lake that they're by, and David then turns into a water creature, pulling Hulk down to absorb or more of Hulk. And David tells Hulk to keep fighting, because the more you fight, the more I take. So Hulk stops fighting, and for some reason, the water freezes. And we hear Betty say that apparently they're absorbing the ambient energy. I'm not quite sure what that meant and why really the water started freezing. I thought that was a really weird thing that happened right there. Do you guys agree that was kind of weird?
Absolutely.
I thought this entire fight scene with Hulk and his dad was terrible.
Yep. Agreed.
So Hulk tells him to take it all. He doesn't want it, and so David becomes a giant gamma cloud, and Ross nukes the gamma cloud out, and we see Bruce's body in the water. And then text flashes across the screen saying 1 year later. Betty is in the lab, and she gets a call from her father. He says that as we both know that Bruce could not have survived the blast. But the usual loonies are seeing things, only now everything's green. If he is alive and he did try to contact you, would you tell me? And Betty simply says, no. Which I thought was pretty funny. But she says, but I wouldn't have to because my phone is bugged. But I will say, I hope he doesn't come for me. Because I love him. And Ross, knowing what she means by this, says, I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. Which, I really liked that conversation between Betty and her father. And then the scene transitions to a jungle area, and we see a Bruce with a beard working as a doctor, as these bandits come to take the medicine. Bruce tells him that you're making me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry. We see his eyes turn green, and a really cute frog on his hat. And that ends the film. And also one last thing that I thought was really cool with the stylization for this film was that the credits, they made the credits all be comic splash bubbles or comic speech bubbles, and like most films have a short bit that's stylized, but like this film, like basically the entire credits was stylized as like this, and I thought that was kind of cool. So as a whole, I think this is actually a pretty good Hulk film. There's a lot I enjoy with it. As I said earlier, I love that it has his abusive father be a big part of the story. That means a hell of a lot to me. I love how they include how the angrier he gets, the bigger he gets. Also, I love the music that Danny Elfman did for this film. Like, I thought it was a really cool sounding soundtrack for the film. What did you guys think of the soundtrack?
I thought it was great. I actually really liked the movie as a whole. It was fun to watch. I enjoyed it way more than The Incredible Hulk. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just fun for me. I didn't hate it. It had its moments where I was like, that could have been better. That was some poor writing. Betty, what are you doing? But I liked it. It was a good movie.
Yeah. Um,
I did hear that Danny Elfman they asked him to do like something different than what he usually does in superhero movies.
mhm.
I just didn't really find it.
You're cutting out again, and Matt, can you say that again?
I said in terms of like Danny Elfman doing the score, I just didn't find it that memorable in comparison to like other superhero movies that he's done.
Okay. Like, and also, as I mentioned before, I really love the comic booky style transitions. And when I was younger, I thought that they were teasing a sequel, that because his father had absorbed so much of Hulk's energy that he was going to like become a sort of Maestro looking Hulk. Do either of you know who Maestro is?
Yeah.
Yes.
He being this old Hulk from the future who has facial hair. I was thinking that they were going to try and do something like that for the sequel, and which I really wish they made that film, because I think that would have been really cool, having Hulk versus this other Hulk that has who's old and has facial hair. I think that would have been really cool. So, just like you guys, like I agree. Like the final act of this film, I don't like. Like, other than that one part with the art of Bruce getting to tell off his father, like the rest of it I really don't like. It feels weird to me, because it's set up by Ross, and it's not like some natural progression to them fighting. It's just like literally they're put in a room to fight. And like also like Bruce's father disappears for half the film till this scene, which is a weird thing for the main villain of the film to do. And then I also wish that the big fight at the end were much longer, or being it be the only fight between a Hulk and a villain.
Yep. I will say this. I don't even know if I would call it the third act, but just the final battle between him and his dad was very short and very quick, and it was really jumbled up and didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
It felt rushed. It felt like
really
they spent a lot of time with the other aspect of getting the story in, that they were like, oh, we forgot about his dad. We need to do a fight scene with that.
Yeah, earlier in the film, the last time we had seen Ian, his dad, before that, was where he was asking Betty to let him do this, which Betty told them that she couldn't do that. Her father couldn't do that. But then, her father just did that. Like, okay, what was the point of her telling him no, then? If that was just gonna happen? It's a bit also like they set up Bruce's father having all these abilities just to have one fight scene right at the end, on a rushed feeling. Yeah. So I definitely can see that. You were gonna say something, Matt?
No, I was just agreeing with you. It was just a weird ending scene.
Mm-hmm.
The final battle.
Alright. I do have a lot of trivia from IMDb, but like this review has gone on for a long time, so I'm not gonna go through all of that. And if anyone wants to hear all of that, they can go back to my I first review of this back in November, because I do read through all of that in that review. But I'll go through like a few things that I think are cool. I have here, as well as you said you have it, Annabelle, the stats from the animators for the like how big the Hulk is and stuff. So if you want to read that you can.
Sure. So, according to the animators, the Hulk's stats are: he weighs 3,452 pounds. He can exert 14 tons of pressure per square inch. His skin is 10 times as strong as Kevlar. His chest measures 17 feet and 4 inches. His waist is 12 feet and 10 inches. His feet are 4 feet and 3 inches. And if he wore shoes, they would be a United States size 87.
Jeez.
And you think I have big feet, Matt?
Yeah.
That is almost the size of me. Just his foot alone is almost the size of me.
Yep.
That's wild.
Which if anybody listening is wondering, the reason I made that comment to Matt is because every time we talk and I mention how I have size 17 feet, he always makes a joke at me because he's so surprised by the fact that I have size 17 feet.
Size 17 to me is just crazy, but size, would you say 86?
87.
87? That's insane.
Oh, yeah.
And I know nothing about, like, men's sizes, but 87, that's fucking ginormous.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Oh, yeah. Is that the last of your numbers, or is there any more?
I have 2 more.
Okay.
His neck measures 6 feet and 9 inches, and he can move at a top speed of 300 miles per hour.
Alright, you named the half sign, Matt. You have your hand up.
Yep. Just a quick question to clarify. Just a little difference between MCU Hulk and this Hulk, but it's not related to Annabelle's stats. So I don't know if you want to save the question or if you just want me to go ahead and ask it.
You can ask it.
Okay. Had this Hulk fuck, unlike the MCU Hulk. Or maybe not Hulk, as Bruce.
Well, I would say that more likely this one can than the MCU one, because the MCU one doesn't have genitals, and you guys are cutting out again. Well, since it's there cutting out, I will mention some things myself. So
Back from the void.
Yes, we can hear you
now. Finally.
2003 Hulk can fuck. Confirmed.
Yeah,
Confirmed.
So, did you guys hear what I had said of the so more likely the 2003 one would be able to than the MCU one, because the model that they made for the MCU one does not have genitals.
Yes, I have seen that before.
What? I didn't know that. So how does he pee?
I don't know.
It's like a pelvic bulge.
Yup.
Is it like a woman? It just like
Kinda
just
looks
comes
like
out
that.
like a fountain.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Oh man, and like that's like one of the funniest like little behind the scenes things I've ever heard about the Hawk is how the MCU version's model does not have anything down there, and that's also why I have. Either of you ever heard of how Mark Ruffalo, when he puts on his mocap suit, he calls it the man canceling suit?
No, I have not.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, he calls it the man canceling suit every time and that's because he knows his model does not have anything down there.
That's wild.
Yep. So they renamed and Brian Banner to David Banner in this film as a tribute to the 70s Hulk TV show, which Hulk is known as David Banner in that show. Throughout the film, there are clues which foreshadow David Banner's climactic descent into villainous insanity. David goes on undercover as a janitor in his son's lab. This is a reference to Samuel Stearns, a janitor who became Hulk's arch nemesis, the leader. David bombards himself with gamma radiation and takes on the properties of anything he touches, like the Absorbing Man, another enemy of the Hulk, and David absorbs and transforms into a lot of electrical energy in the final sequence, which is an homage to the classic Hulk villain Zazrax. Let's see. So, according to Ang Lee, the director, the film's screenplay drew influences from monster tales like King Kong and Frankenstein, and fantasies like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Beauty and the Beast, and Faust, and more particularly Greek mythology tragedies. The frog used in the nanomed experiment named Freddy is fake. The crew pumped air into it to make it look like it was breathing. They used a prop frog after the real run, proved that to not look as lively as the fake one did, which I find hilarious. That he did look nearly as good lucky there. We have some people who are considered for the role of Bruce Banner. Billy Crudup, I don't really know any roles from him, but I think the only thing I know of him is he played Barry Allen's father in the Justice League movie. Also considered were Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp, Jeff Goldblum, David Duchovny, and Steve Buscemi.
Oh God.
I don't know how I feel about Jeff Goldblum.
Oh man.
I can only see him as he's the Grandmaster. Yeah,
yes.
He's not the Collector. He's the Grandmaster. I can only see him as that. I could never see him as anything else.
That would be really weird. Oh man. But I think also like Steve Buscemi would be hilarious, but very out of his space of what he normally does in films.
Yep. That would be weird.
What do we think about Johnny Depp?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Interesting.
I couldn't see it.
The thing is, if they did do Johnny Depp, I would want him to have his facial hair. Because I want the Hulk, because I think it would be hilarious having the Hulk with facial hair, but I also feel like most people would not like if they did that for the whole film.
Yeah, it would be weird.
So let's see, to prepare for his role as General Thaddeus E. Thunderbolt Ross, Sam Elliott read the Hulk comic books, and he had doubts about growing a mustache since the army doesn't encourage facial hair, but was convinced by Ang Lee to do so. Let's see. Let's see, what else sounds good? To show the cast where Hulk would be standing after being added by CGI, the cast and crew used a out cardboard they named Elvis after Elvis Presley. And then the next thing I have, which I find this hilarious. someone actually asked one of the visual effects people, how does Bruce keep his pants on when he turns into the supersized Hulk?
I have the same question.
And the visual effects supervisor said, we had a lot of talks about it. We realized we couldn't show his stuff, so we figured that when he's in a government and immersion cell, those were military stretchable pants. But earlier on, it was more difficult to rationalize, so we figured he just wears stretchy pants. But Banner does lose his boxers in one scene, but his lycra blend isn't to blame. It's because the dogs rip his clothes off. Of the computer, and then also another thing not related to this, but another thing that from the animators was that they studied bodybuilders for the look of Hulk's muscles. They created 1,165 different muscles for him, and
wow,
yeah, and then and so the poodle being in the pack was made for a good joke. Plus, it was in James Sheamus's script. Ang Lee said it was funny. I think it looked more like a Doberman who used the beast to pay homage to a particular young artiste, which was that the elongated ears on the poodle were from a drawing from his son, which I thought was really sweet.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, the fans don't have much time to admire the creepy canine, since the dog fight was cut from its original 200 storyboards to a mere 60 storyboards for budgetary reasons. So we almost had a much longer version of that fight.
Thank God we didn't.
Yeah. The movie's first trailer showed something kind of similar to what's going on right now with She-Hulk. It showed a CGI Hulk that didn't look very convincing, which apparently led to several viewers calling it Shrek on steroids, which I thought was pretty funny. And then and finally, the last bit of trivia I have is that whoever voiced the Hulk in this film remains unknown to this day.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's never been revealed who voiced the Hulk in this.
Why? Why
I
such
don't
mystery?
know. I don't know. It's just, but I find it really interesting that it's never been mentioned in who voiced the Hulk. It's not on any of the cast.
My bet's on Ang Lee.
Yeah, I do know that Ang Lee did the motion capture for the Hulk, but but there isn't anything saying that he actually did the voice.
I bet it was the voice of Hulk, just the director. I could see that.
Yeah, I could. So, before I get into the answer to the trivia question, there's one little thing that I wanted to bring up that I thought would be kind of fun. So, back in November, when I first did this film, I did a post on Twitter asking for social media thoughts on this film. There's one particular thought I want to bring back. This is the thoughts from one Cosmic Cretin on Twitter.
Oh no.
Cosmic
Are
Credit
you about to
said,
expose him?
the Cosmic Credit said this was the original Hulk that I grew up on as a kid, the one I had toys of, the one I rewatched countless times, faces with tears of joy. Like, I haven't seen it in several years, but you're definitely making me want to see if I can find that DVD again and give it a rewatch. So, did you ever find that DVD?
No. No,
So you're a liar.
I took out on that one and just watched it on Amazon Prime because I have no idea where my DVD is. I remember having a whole little DVD like case that had a bunch of movies in it, and that was one of them. And I did watch it a lot, and I did have Hulk toys. There's two in particular that stand out, and that is the one just Hulk action figure. I don't know how else to explain it. Just a normal Hulk action figure that was based off of this movie, and then a little plush Hulk. But I think that was based off of Lou Ferrigno's Hulk.
Oh, that's nice. I like the only Hulk toy that I had growing up was we bought a pair of the Hulk fist gloves, which were so cool.
I had those.
I wish I still had those today.
Mine have been long gone. I think I don't know if I took a bite out of the fist because it was just like a foam fist.
Sounds
I don't know
like
if
something that a child would do.
But mine had a little piece missing in one of the knuckles.
Yeah. Our ones I'm pretty sure had pieces missing from too, but ours was mainly because we had dogs who would chew on them.
I think I was the dog that chewed on them.
But
You
yeah,
are a dog rat.
also we find out from this what you said on social media is that unlike how you try to make it out to seem like you hate this film in this review, you have tears of joy whenever you watch it.
Damn! John just called you out.
Well, like I also said in the tweet, time since I watched it, and it's not as well as I remember it. Not that I even said that.
Yeah,
I'm glad you did that, John. I'm very glad.
I literally took that from my old notes from the first episode just to bring it back up here. I literally did it 10 minutes before we got onto the episode. I went back and was like, I'm gonna grab this. This is gonna be funny.
Whenever you started this little segment and you were like, I'm gonna bring up one tweet in particular, I was like, did I comment on that? Not at all.
Oh man, yeah. I stopped doing the social media tweets because I was mainly doing the 70s Hulk show, which nobody comments on the tweets for those because not many people have seen that show.
Yep. I haven't.
So, and I'm not going to every time just repeatedly say, I'm sorry, we don't have any social media responses on this, so because that just sounds bad if you just keep every single episode saying that. Yeah. So, the answer to the trivia question from earlier, I believe, Annabelle, you got it correct. It was the Berkeley Biotechnology Institute.
Yes! I'm awesome.
Yes, you are.
You hear that, Matt? You hear that? I got it right. I'm better than you.
How many times did you watch this movie this week?
Twice.
I thought it was like at least 3.
No, I only watched it twice, and then I watched The Incredible Hulk.
I watched this movie this week one time, and then I went back and just watched the scene where Lou Ferrigno and Stan Lee were because I missed it the first time.
Wow.
I don't understand how you missed that.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Is there anything either of you would like to say before I end off this episode?
It was a great movie. I'm very happy you asked us to do this, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Matt sucks, and I'm better than him. And Avatar is ahead of its time. That's it.
I'm gonna my final comment, very classy. Bruce Banner 2003 fucks. Wrong about Avatar.
No, I am correct about Avatar. I will die on this fucking hill, man.
And thank you, John.
Thank you.
Yes,
for coming.
thank you, John.
Yeah. Thank you for both of you coming on, and I would be happy anytime for you guys to come on again.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Sure, we could do something else.
I could and maybe even like when She-Hulk comes out, because I really want to get as many different voices on episodes of that as possible. So like every episode I'm gonna have different guests on. So one episode I may try and bring you guys on.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that.
I don't want it to the only voice being on there be a straight white male. I think it could be good to have some more voices on it, especially since this is a very important character specifically to women and for empowerment. And so I don't want it to just be me talking about it.
Well, if that's the case, I don't know how much help I would be, but I'll gladly come.
You can talk too, but it's good. It's just good to have lots of different voices. Not just mine, is what I'm saying. And yes, you also are a straight white male, but still you are another voice. I mainly suggesting She-Hulk mainly for Annabelle, actually, though.
Okay.
Because I'm better than you.
No, I don't.
I am a bi-white Italian female, so I would love to come on.
Alright, they're freezing up once again.
I am excited. I just have different thoughts on how she looks.
Mm-hmm. I was just saying that. Thank you for listening. If you like this gamma analysis, please give a 5-star review on both Apple Podcast and a 5-star rating on Spotify. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the film, so please let me know. And if you'd like to listen to more from me, please subscribe. I have many more gamma analyses from me coming, so keep on the lookout. This again is your host, Smash Trivia John, signing off.